Hello everyone, my name is Annmariya Benoy. Today I'm here to present my capstone project titled Automated Newsbot using UiPath. The objective of this process is to automate the process of retrieving the latest news headlines based on a topic entered by the user. Instead of manually browsing through news websites, this bot will search Google News, extract the most recent headlines, and display them or send them to an email address all automatically. The business process selected for automation is the manual task of news searching, which is usually repetitive, time consuming, and error prone. By automating the task using a robotic process automation tools like UiPath, we can save time, improve accuracy, and make information retrieval much more efficient. Project workflow and UiPath implementation. The project workflow is quite straightforward and consists of a series of automated steps. First, the bot prompts the user to input two pieces of information, a news topic they are interested in, and optionally their email address. Once the user inputs the topic, the bot opens Google Chrome and navigates to the Google website. It types the topic into the search bar, presses enter, and switches to the news tab. Focus only on relevant news articles. Then the bot scrapes the headlines, descriptions, and URLs of the news articles using UiPath's data scraping method. All the extracted data is stored in a structured data table. The bot then processes the data by filtering and cleaning the headlines if necessary. Finally, it displays the extracted news in the UiPath output panel or sends an email to the user if the email option is enabled. Now let's move on to the workflow. I'll be explaining the workflow. So first we used an input dialog box which was for receiving the user input for the topic. Next we used another input dialog box which was for the user to enter their mail ID. Then we used use application or browser to indicate Google Chrome. Then in the do part we used to type into function which was used to select the search button. And then later on that we entered a topic. So right here I entered UI path, and then in the click function we have to indicate the news tab, and then later by using the table extraction tool you will be selecting the URL of this topic, the text of this topic, and then the days here. That will be done using table extraction. Then later we will be using this write line function. So the variables used here are str topic, which was for topic, str mail ID for receiving the mail ID, then table data extraction, and this is to receive the news. So that is our workflow. Now we'll be running our workflow. So now I'll be debugging the file. That was workflow. In terms of technical setup, I used several UiPath features to build this bot efficiently. Topic, the variables used were topic to store the user's input topic, email ID to store the user's email address, extracted table data to hold the scrape news data. Selectors, I use dynamic selectors for clicking on the news tab and extracting news headlines to handle small changes in Google's page structure. This ensures that even if Google slightly modifies its layout, the bot can still function correctly. Arguments in this project's arguments were minimal because most of the data flow happened within a single sequence. External integrations, the automation interacts with Google Chrome for web browsing and error handling. In case of any error, the bot gracefully shows a friendly message instead of crashing. Challenges and solutions. During the development of the project, I faced a few challenges. One of the biggest challenges was dealing with dynamic web elements. Since Google's page structure can change frequently, the initial scraping activity sometimes failed. To overcome this, I used anchor piece selectors and verified elements' existence before trying to extract data. Another challenge was handling slow internet connections, which sometimes caused the board to time out or skip steps. I solved this by adding delays and retry scopes to make the automation more resilient. Finally, optimizing the performance was also a task. I ensured that the scraping and data processing steps were efficient and fast, even if the news list was long. Conclusion and personal contribution. In this project, me, along with my project partner, Ms. Rachel Abraham, handled the design, development, testing, and optimization of the automated news support. I also incorporated some additional improvements like structuring the extracted news in a clean and readable format, adding data handling, preparing the code for easy scalability in the future. Potential future enhancements include expanding the board to scrape multiple news websites like Bing News, Yahoo News, and others, scheduling the board to run automatically every day using UiPath Orchestrator, adding natural language processing (NLP) capabilities, summarize long news articles, implementing sentiment analysis, tag the news as positive, negative, or neutral. In conclusion, this project demonstrates how robotic process automation can drastically improve repetitive and manual tasks, saving time and increasing productivity. Thank you so much for your time and attention.